Hey guys, all right, today we're going to be looking at reading diagrams. Reading diagrams is very common in science, and it actually makes learning about the different things that you're reading about or that you're learning about a lot easier because it gives an image to the words that they are giving you also. So let's look at a couple of diagrams. Okay, so let's look at a diagram of an algae cell. And as you can see, a diagram is just another way of saying an image or drawing. So when we look at a diagram of the algae cell, we can see that the algae is covered in a capsule. Right here, I tell you that it's covered in a capsule, and that is covering the entire organism here. Even though they're pointing to just this one spot, they're referring to the entire area, the red. And just below the surface of the capsule, get an eraser here. Just below the surface of the capsule is the cell wall here. And this is indicating that the entire area just below the surface of the capsule is where the cell wall is, not just this little area here. Okay? And clearly just above that is the plasma membrane. So the point of labeling a diagram is just so that you can see where the different parts of that, whatever they're labeling, the different parts and where they're located. So here you see where they're pointing to ribosomes here, and they pointed to that one, and they also point to this one here. But any other figure that looks like that are the ribosomes. So even though they didn't point to this one, we still know that that's a ribosome, okay, because it looks like the other two. And same thing with the pili, and also, and on the outer portion of it, we have a long tail here. It's called the bacterial flagellum. But pretty much everything you would want to recognize in an algae cell, if you want to recognize an algae cell, is labeled below, labeled on the diagram here. Okay, and usually the diagram that's labeled will be discussed in the text below it or next to it. Okay, so let's look at another diagram. Okay. Okay, let's look at a diagram of a neuron. Neuron is the scientific word for a nerve cell. So not only in this diagram does it tell you the parts of a neuron, it also tells you the direction that information travels. So because of this diagram, you can see that whenever a nerve cell gets information, it gets it from here and it goes in this direction. And you can tell that because of the arrow. Okay. And also you can recognize the different parts of it. Now, what I wanted you to see here was the dendrites. They didn't actually tell you what the dendrites are, but they wrote the word in the area, and you can assume that these are the dendrites here and here. Some diagrams actually point that out, some don't. Just want to let you know that is a difference that you can find in a diagram. And also, I want you to notice here the axon. The axon is showing you this here, shows you that the axon covers this entire area of the nerve cell here. Okay? So those are two significant things that I think you should notice about this particular diagram. And that's it. It's that easy. So with this information, you can probably very easily read a diagram and decipher a lot of information out of that diagram. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.